I'm Starborn. Remember to be a star. You have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. The title of tonight's Starborn show is The Next Chapter. It could be your next chapter. And that is because the planets this week are even more exact in their angles than they were last week. And so what we have this week is that we have 9 planets that are in grand trines. And that is because there are 5 planets that are in the water signs in a grand trine, and they're very powerful because each water sign has its own ruler or a planet of exaltation in it. Then there's another 4 planets that are in a grand trine in the air signs, and that's good too. However, there aren't any planets in the earth signs, and there's only one in a fire sign, and that is Mercury, which is only at 0 degrees of Sagittarius. So it's just starting its journey through that sign. So the reason why we're on the next chapter is because you could be arriving at the realization that something is over, or the last chapter or the chapter previous to today has ended in your life. So there could have been an ending of one sort or another. Even if it had taken a long time, it would be finished now. And so as one chapter finishes, then you can be arriving at the next chapter, which I think could be starting as early as today. And that is because the planets are more exact in their positions. And that means that since you can't break a grand trine, it means that the grand trines are even more forceful than they were last week, which is to the good. It means that planets are trining each other, and so your next chapter could be a little easier to initiate than you would think right now, and you could certainly be in the mood for that, because the planets in the water signs are the strongest ones of the grand trines, and that means we can all be very sure of our feelings. And that's why we're starting the next chapter right now. And this is a wonderful time to do it. And that is because today the sun has moved into Scorpio, a water sign. It's only at 6 degrees, and it is joining Mars, the ruler of the sign, at 26 degrees in Scorpio, and that's a fixed financial sign, ruling credit, debt, loans, taxes, insurance costs, inheritance, grants, or money coming in from any other source. And so Scorpio also is a healing water sign, so it rules war. But it also rules the whole medical field and the military. And above all, Scorpio rules justice and survival. So those things can be very important and could be good reasons why you need to start a new chapter in your life now. Because those 2 planets are trining 2 other really strong planets. And they're almost exact. And that is because, yes, the sun is in early Scorpio only at 6 degrees, but Mars is at 26 degrees. And it is exactly trining another malefic planet, Saturn, at 26 degrees of Pisces, and Saturn is retrograde. But that Saturn is conjuncting the ruler of Pisces, Neptune, which is at the 29th degree of fate, and it too is retrograde. So Mars is closely trining Saturn, well, exactly, and it is closely trining the ruler of the sign, Neptune. And so these 4 planets, which are very strong because their aspects are more exact right now and are favorable because they're trines, are all trining another planet, Jupiter, the strongest planet in the heavens because it's the only exalted one. And it is at 25 degrees of Cancer today. And remember, so it's exactly, very closely trining Mars at 26 of Scorpio, and Saturn at 26 of Pisces, and Neptune at 29 of Pisces. And that's what I mean by the aspects between the planets are more exact. And that is why you could just be deciding, hey, starting a new chapter is a better idea than always trying to hang on to the past, because time does not move backward, it moves forward. So your past could be slipping away, but that can open up all kinds of opportunities for a new chapter in your life, and that's what I hope you're looking forward to, because there's another grand trine in the air signs. This one is not as strong, but it's still a grand trine, and that is because Venus today is at home in Libra, the sign that it rules. It's at 19 degrees, and Libra rules peace and partnership and love and marriage and fairness and balance and compromise, and it rules art and beauty, and it rules decorating, and above all, Libra rules the law and all legal contracts. And so that Venus is right at home in the sign it rules, and that's great because it's trining Uranus, a malefic planet, at 0 degrees of Gemini, and it is retrograde. It's just about ready to go back into Taurus, but it's at 0 degrees of Gemini today. And together, those two planets are trining two other planets in another air sign, Aquarius, because today the moon is in Aquarius at just 4 degrees. And so it is closely conjuncting Pluto at 1 degree of Aquarius. And a conjunction heightens the power of both planets because they're so close together in their in alignment in their orbits. So the sun is Venus is trining the moon and Pluto today and Uranus, and that can set up a lot of stimulation. Uranus is a malefic planet because it acts so quickly and it's somewhat unstable, but it does rule the future, and it's trining the sign of the future. Uranus is trining the moon and Pluto in Aquarius. And so that further accentuates the idea that this is a wonderful time for you to realize you should be on a new chapter in your life. And you could pick up new partners now. And that would turn out very favorably. So, if you're sort of looking around for a new partner, this is a right time to do it. Because Venus is in Libra, the sign it rules, and that's the sign of partnership. Or if you're contemplating signing a contract of any kind, this is a good time for you to look it over carefully, but you could get a good legal opinion on whether that's a good contract or not, and so that would be worth your while. This would also be a very good time for you to settle any conflicts, because there are still all 10 planets being challenged by some other planets, so there are conflicts around. And you could get some good legal advice because Venus is still in Libra under this grand trine. And it's trining the moon and Pluto. That's good because they're in the sign of the future. So that's another reason for you to be looking forward, not backward. And then there's one planet left. And boy, is it on its own. And that is Mercury. Mercury is at 0 degrees of Sagittarius. And it's the only planet in a fire sign. Remember I said there's no planets in earth signs, and there's only one planet in a fire sign, and it is really on its own because Mercury is at 0 degrees of Sagittarius, and it is exactly opposing Uranus at 0 degrees of Gemini. But the story gets a little worse than that because Mercury rules Gemini. And so not only are these two planets in opposition, which indicates a separation, but the ruler is opposing the sign it rules. Mercury is opposing Gemini, but Mercury rules Virgo as well. And that Mercury in Sagittarius is squaring Virgo. And so poor little Mercury, it's not in good aspect to anything right now. And it has no support. So we have to keep that in mind. Because there are still conflicts that can arise. And that is another good reason for you to be contemplating a new chapter in your life. And so every planet is being harshly aspected by some other planet right now. And we have to remember there's no planets in the earth signs, so it could be a little difficult for people to be realistic about things. The earth signs are realistic, but there's nothing in them. So you too have to sort of keep your feet on the ground and think in a realistic way, but it might be a little bit hard right now. Because there are two planets that are squaring each other, and they are both in cardinal signs. Remember, cardinal signs rule vice and virtue, right and wrong. They're very set in their own opinions. They're not like fixed signs, but they're pretty convinced that what they think is right is right. And the problem is that there are two planets that are harshly squaring each other in the cardinal signs, and they are the two best planets in the heavens because Venus is in Libra at 19 degrees, a cardinal sign, and it is closely, remember everything's more exact this week, Venus is closely squaring Jupiter at 25 degrees of Cancer, and Jupiter is exalted. So we've got an exalted planet coming up against a ruler of the sign, which is at home in the sign it rules, but the exalted planet wins. It's the strongest of the two, and it's part of a grand trine in the water signs, and the grand trine in the water signs is the strongest one between the air and water sign trines. So anyway, what we see is that there can be conflicts around, particularly among partners. Remember, Libra rules partnership. And it can be that people are started thinking that, it's time to change partners, or it's time to seek new partners. And yet there has to be some sort of an ending before you can make a new beginning. That makes sense. And so that is why you might realize that an ending is imminent. And I think it's already happened in most relationships. And that is because Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, and Cancer rules the 4th house of home, the last half of life, and endings. And it's coming up against the sign of partnership and Venus in Libra. And so I think partnership is already over. And that's a good reason for you to be realizing that you, in one way or another, are on to the next chapter of your life. And that's good. It's better than hanging on to yesterday, because the past, it's going backwards. And that's not a way for you to go. You need to go forward. And so there are also 4 planets that are squaring each other harshly in the fixed signs. Fixed signs really don't budge. I mean, cardinal signs just have pretty strong opinions. Fixed signs, they stick to their own ideas no matter what, and they refuse to give them up. And so that's what's happening. The Sun and Mars the Sun is at 6 degrees of Scorpio, but Mars is at 26 degrees in Scorpio, and at home in the sign it rules. They're both squaring the Moon today at 4 degrees of Aquarius, and Pluto, which is at 1 degree of Aquarius, and Pluto is Scorpio's other ruler. And Scorpio is a fixed financial sign. So what we have under this square is that the Sun and the Moon are closely squaring each other. The Sun's at 6 degrees, the Moon's at 4 degrees. And when the Sun and the Moon square or oppose each other, that leads to indecision or confusion. So we all have that to deal with as well. But when Mars is squaring Pluto, which it has been doing for weeks now, it simply means that a lot of people have money problems. And there can be conflicts and frustration. If you are in a partnership or a former partnership, or if you're arguing about money in one way or another, or you're trying to realign a heavy debt load, that could be a problem as well. And all of those things would be related to something that had already occurred. They're all related, the money problems are all related to the past. You could certainly be facing them. If you don't get them solved, they're going to be in your future as well. And Pluto is in the sign of the future, and so is the Moon. So you have to be a little bit careful about who your partners are now. And if you've been having trouble in a partnership, and the bottom line is that there are money problems and there's quarrels or even legal lawsuits that have to do with possessions or property or assets or debts of any kind, you need to try to resolve that as quickly as possible. And the point is that the strength is in the water signs, and that simply means that we are all very sure of our feelings. I mean, you could argue in an objective way as much as you wanted, but it all gets down to how people really feel right now, because the water signs are so strong. And so this is a time when, if you are having money problems, you've got to try as hard as you can to resolve them and end them. And money problems could be the basis for the end of a partnership. There could just be people that say, okay, no more, I'm done, and that's it. And so that could be coming up because of this harsh square between the 2 planets in Scorpio and the 2 planets in Aquarius, which involves Scorpio's rulers. So I think everybody has money problems in one way or another. And if you don't, perhaps your employer does, or a family member does, or a neighbor does, something like that. So if you're a lucky one that has no debt and doesn't have to worry about anything, fine. But there are actually very few people like that. And even young people who are loaded down with heavy student debt are facing real problems right now. And so we do have to find a way to get into the next chapter of our lives. But something should have ended already. If it hasn't, it needs to end so that you can get on a new road and a new chapter in your life. Because there are another 4 planets that are in the mutable signs, and they are in a harsh T-cross. And that is because I mentioned that Mercury is at 0 degrees of Sagittarius, which is a mutable sign, and it is being excuse me, directly opposed by Uranus, a malefic planet in Gemini, at 0 degrees. So these two are coming up against each other right now, and Mercury rules Gemini. Oh, it's in exactly the wrong place. It's opposing the sign it rules. And so since Mercury rules thought and communication and plans, and it's coming up against a volatile malefic planet like Uranus, which is full of sudden surprising change, that isn't too good. And the story gets a little worse than that, because that indicates, since the opposition is exact, they're both at 0 degrees, it simply indicates that there is a real separation somewhere in people's lives. And you know, the thoughts or the ideas that people have they're so far apart. They've got to just, these people ought to go their own ways. They're not going to be able to resolve their conflicts because they're having poor communication right now. And the reason why that's going on is not just this opposition. It is that both planets, Mercury in Sagittarius and Uranus, a malefic planet in Gemini, are being squared by the 2 planets in Pisces. And they are very strong, and one of them is a malefic planet. Remember, Uranus is too. So Mercury is being squared by Saturn and Neptune, which are tightly conjuncting in Pisces, which rules things that are hidden behind the scenes. And Uranus, a malefic planet, is also squaring or being squared by Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. Well, Neptune rules Pisces. And it's part of the water signs that are so strong because there are exact trines among the water signs, making them very powerful. And so that simply means that there can be increased conflict and frustration, not just because of mixed messages and poor communication, but also because Pisces rules things that are hidden behind the scenes. And the ruler is there, Neptune, conjuncting the planet of time, Saturn, and they're in perfect trine to that Mars in Scorpio, and Mars rules justice. It can be that there's information coming out from behind the scenes, and it would be described as a real eye-opener. And that kind of information could involve things that had happened in the past, and when that information comes out, it can be somewhat destructive, actually. Well, certainly to the people that were trying to hide something, it's going to be pretty destructive. And so there can be conflicts either about money or about activities that have been going on behind the scenes. And that too could be quite a challenge, and also a very good reason why you should try to get beyond that and start a new chapter in your life. And that's because these planets are so exact. You can't get away from what's going on. But you can look forward. People can always, the sun always rises. And so this is a time when we need to look forward. And we've got a lot of help with that. And it's the right kind of help because it deals with our feelings. Because the grand trine in the water signs is the most powerful influence in the heavens right now. And it's more exact than it was last week. So this is the time to close the book or turn the page on a chapter in your life that hadn't been working out for one reason or another, and simply go on to a new chapter. And that's what I think we're all on right now. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Oh, Aries, for you. It simply means, Aries, since there's only one planet in a fire sign, and that is Mercury. It's at 0 degrees of Sagittarius, but it is trining your sun. That's good. You could hear about something that has to do with international law, or something that has to do with people who live in a foreign country, or maybe you're possibly thinking about going back to college, or doing something in higher education. That could, you could get good news about that, or you could inquire, and whatever you learn could head you in a new direction. And since your sign rules new beginnings, Aries, I urge you to make one. You need to right now, because there really isn't any support in the fire signs except for that beleaguered Mercury in Sagittarius that's being opposed and squared by other planets in mutable signs, so it's not much help to you. And there's nothing in Leo, and there's nothing in your sign. And so, Aries, you need to think about starting over. Now, you happen to be absolutely excellent at that. So if you are deciding that now is the time for a new chapter in your life, I would say you are really on the ball. That is exactly the right thing that you should be doing, starting a new chapter. Turn the page, Aries. You may as well, because Venus is in Libra, and it is opposing your sun sign. And that opposition represents a separation. But it's more than a separation. It means somebody else wins a legal lawsuit, so I hope you don't get in one because you're not expected to win it. It also means that you should be looking for new partners because somebody else is already looking for new partners. So there could be a partnership that is over, whether it's a legal one or something that's in a friendship or with coworkers or whatever. What's over is over, Aries, and it's not coming back. It's really ended. And the reason why is that yours is a cardinal sign. Excuse me. So Venus in Libra, which is very strong, is opposing your sign. But Jupiter in Cancer, which rules endings and is the strongest planet in the heavens because it's exalted, is squaring your sun sign. And the power is really in the water signs. And so an ending should have already occurred in your life, Aries. If it hasn't, it's on your doorstep right now. And it is what I would call irrevocable. It's not coming back. So it could be a legal partnership. That's over. Or if you're in a lawsuit, you might be on the losing end of the lawsuit. Or if you were thinking that you could do what you want and still have everything remain great at home, you're kidding yourself about that. Because Cancer rules the home, fourth house of home, last half of life, and endings. And it is very forcefully squaring your sun. That planet is exact in its own grand trine in the water signs. So you're on to a new chapter in your life, Aries. I wish you the very best. It happens to be something that Aries is really good at. Yours is not a finishing sign. So, forget it and just start something new, Aries. I think you'll love it. It might be a little difficult for you to start something new right now. Maybe you need a little rest. Maybe you'd like to take a vacation and go to a foreign country. Mercury in Sagittarius is trining your sun, and Sagittarius rules foreign countries. Or maybe you'd just like to go back to school and just take a course and learn something new. That wouldn't be too hard. So I wish you the best of luck. Go at it. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus. Taurus, there aren't any planets in the earth signs, and there weren't any last week either. Oh, darn it. That means that people are having a little bit of a hard time keeping their feet on the ground, and you could be too, particularly about financial matters. And that is because the Sun and Mars, which is at home in Scorpio, are both opposing your sun sign, which has no support from the other sun signs, and there's nothing in your sign anyway. And the moon today and Pluto in Aquarius are squaring your sun sign. So you're getting pretty harsh aspect from 4 very strong planets right now. And 2 of them, Pluto and Mars, deal with the kind of financial things that Scorpio rules, such as credit, debt, loans, taxes, inheritance, insurance costs, and grants and money coming in from any other source. And also, Taurus, your sign rules investments. And so you could be looking over your investments and you may not be completely happy with what you're looking at right now. And so this is a time perhaps when you might want to consider selling a few things, even if they are at lower cost. It's better to sell them now before they go lower. Or if you own something like an expensive piece of property and the taxes go sky high, you might consider selling that, because generally taxes never come down. And that would increase your costs. So I mean, somehow you're getting hurt in the pocketbook, Taurus. And you have to concentrate on that and deal with that. And perhaps this is an opportune time for you to think about making a sort of turn the page and realize that you have to be on a new chapter in your life. And it might be a new financial chapter. And it might be something where, you know, a Taurus is a very good worker. But generally a Taurus doesn't like to work forever. They like to retire. And maybe you should consider that, Taurus, or working, you know, maybe you should just take a break right now and try to realign your financial assets so that you have less debt, or that you don't own property that has such high tax bills and maintenance to it. You know, that's just upkeep, and that can put a real dent in your budget. You need to think about that, Taurus, because it looks like you're getting hit with problems like that. You know, higher costs, and they could be coming from a lot of different directions. And so if I were you, I would start a new chapter. And I know you don't like this word, Taurus, but it should be a chapter that deals with more frugality. You know, Taurus has expensive tastes, and they like gourmet food and wine. They like the best of everything, and it all costs. And it would be a little bit better now for you to, you know, start a new chapter in your life where you are dealing with the idea of more frugality and not so much high price, you know, first class expensive stuff. Because Taurus, in the end, you'll have to end up paying the bill. Even if somebody else has been paying your bills so far, a new chapter is coming up for everybody, including you. And so, you know, everybody has financial problems, not just you, Taurus. And so it's a better time for you to withdraw and concentrate on your own problems, because I can pretty much guarantee you, with nothing in the earth signs, that there's no one that is actually going to come to your aid right now, and it's up to you to handle your financial matters yourself, which you happen to be pretty good at. But it's just that you're all on your own right now, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, there certainly is going to be a new chapter in your life, Gemini, because there has to be. And the reason why is that Uranus, a malefic planet, is at 0 degrees in your sign. It is part of the grand trine in the air signs. Okay, so Venus in Libra is trining your Sun and your Uranus, which means you could pick up a new partner right now. Or you could go and get some very good legal advice right now, and it would tend to benefit you in some way, so you should sort of think about that. But the Moon today and Pluto in Aquarius are also trining your Sun, indicating that there could be some new chapter in your life, Gemini, that deals with a woman in your future that pretty much is in upper management or knows what she's doing. And could be an advisor to you, or could be a new co-worker of yours, or something like that. And if you were just attending a seminar of somebody who was talking about a subject that you're interested in, they would be very knowledgeable, and you would benefit from that. And so this is a time, Gemini, when we all have got to be on some sort of new chapter in our life, because things have ended. And for all of us, it doesn't have to be that it just happened yesterday or it just happened last week, but all of us have been experiencing endings. And Jupiter went into Cancer, which rules endings, last summer. And it's been happening since then. Endings. And they should be for the best. There are endings that turn out for the best, because some people, they just keep clinging to the past, and time doesn't move backwards. So if something ends, it makes them go into the future. Well, that's the direction that you would benefit from right now, Gemini, because the moon and Pluto are in the sign of the future, Aquarius, but the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus, and Uranus is in your sign. The problem is that Uranus is being exactly opposed by Mercury, your own ruler, which is over, it's 180 degrees away in Sagittarius. And so if you were dealing with matters that had to do with people from foreign countries, or you were thinking of taking a long-distance trip, or you had some court matter dealing with an international affair of one sort or another, you'd have to be really on your toes right now, and you might not win everything. You might not get everything that you want, because your own ruler is opposing your sun sign. And so, take baby steps right now, Gemini, if you can. And your sign rules temporary or part-time things. You could try just to take a small step forward and see what that feels like before you decide to turn something into a whole new chapter in your life. You could sort of try it on first, Gemini. That would be all right. That would work out really well. There is a grand trine in the air signs. It's just that Saturn and Neptune, which are tightly conjuncting each other in Pisces, are squaring Uranus in your sign, and your ruler Mercury is opposing your sign. There are going to be some conflicts that you will not be able to resolve right now, Gemini, and that's why it would be better if you tried to pick up new partners, or you got some good legal advice. It doesn't hurt to get advice from people. Your sign actually rules counseling and advising. Maybe you're the person that's going to give the good advice. That would work out too, as long as you were checking the legal ramifications of something first before you made a final decision on something. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, Jupiter is still in your sign. Lucky you. Of course, it's only exalted in your sign once every 12 years. So I hope you've been taking advantage of all of its possibilities for expansion this year, Cancer. And certainly you could be on a new chapter, on the next chapter of your life. And that is because you may have already gone through an ending in the time that Jupiter has been in your sign, because it would have been for the best. It would have been a good ending for you, Cancer. And the reason why is that Jupiter is such a good planet, and it's exalted in your sign. And it went in last summer. And since then, if there have been endings in your life, or even just one ending, or even more, they would have all been for the best for you. You would benefit from all that. And on top of that, you're really going to benefit from realizing that it's time for you, since there's already been at least one or possibly two pretty big endings in your life, Cancer. It simply means that you are just ripe to start a new chapter in your life. And this next new chapter is going to be a real winner for you, Cancer. I mean, there's a grand trine in the water signs. You couldn't lose if you tried. Don't try. And that is because Jupiter at 25 degrees in your sign today is closely trining Mars in Scorpio at 26 degrees. It's also trining the Sun in Scorpio. And Jupiter in your sign is also trining Saturn, which is exactly at 26 degrees. And so it's, Jupiter's at 25 degrees. That's another exact trine. And that Saturn is conjuncting Neptune, the ruler of Pisces. So you've got two rulers in very close trine to Jupiter in your own sign. And this is probably as good as it's going to get for you for a long time, Cancer, because these planets are exact right now. And a grand trine can't be broken, but look at what kind of planets they are. Mars, okay, it's in a financial sign. It's being squared by its own ruler, but it isn't hurting you. It's trining your sun sign. And Saturn is another malefic planet, and it rules time. And because it's retrograde and conjuncting Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces, and they are closely trining Jupiter in your sign, it simply means that if some information comes out from behind the scenes, it may not hurt you. It may be the thing that gets you going on the next chapter of your life, which would be fine. And so even if there was information coming out that had been concealed for a long time, Saturn rules time, behind the scenes, it should benefit you, Cancer. Now, it might benefit you because it frees you up, because you realize, gee, there's really an ending there, and that's okay with you. Your sign rules endings. You yourself do good endings. Takes you a long time, but you do good endings. And when a Cancer decides to end something, it's over. Yours is a cardinal sign. There isn't going to be any going back. So if you have already endured one ending or possibly two, they should be of great benefit to you in your future, because an ending is allowing all of us to be more sure of our feelings, and that is what can lead us forward to the next new chapter of our life. That's exactly where you are right now, Cancer. You're able to go on to something new. And it may be because some information is coming out from behind the scenes that sort of propels you forward towards something new. There is also the possibility, if you have had a dream for a long time, Neptune rules dreams, it's in its own sign, and it's conjuncting Saturn, the planet of time. So if you've had a dream that you have had in your sort of secret heart for a very long time, and these planets are very tightly trining Jupiter in your sign, and so is Mars, it may be that you are finally able to make an old dream come true. And it may be because you have more money and you're able to afford it now. That could be possible. Because the trines are so exact now. Mars is at 26 degrees, Jupiter in your sign is at 25 degrees, Saturn is at 26 degrees, Neptune is at 29 degrees. Well, these planets are really getting along, and nothing is going to break them up. So it might be that more money is coming your way, or already has, and that can allow you to go forward and make an old dream come true. So congratulations, Cancer. And I wouldn't wait on that. I wouldn't sit on that. I wouldn't think about it anymore. Do it while everything is so exact, Cancer. You cannot go wrong. So give it a try, and good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, there is only one planet in a fire sign. It is trining your sun, though, Leo. It is Mercury at 0 degrees of Sagittarius, and it's trining your sun. Now, that Mercury is so beleaguered. It is opposing the sign it rules, Gemini. It's squaring the other sign it rules, Virgo. And it is opposing Uranus in Gemini exactly. So there can be sudden messages, because Mercury rules communication, that come your way, Leo. And those sudden messages could be somewhat jarring, and they could be surprising to you in one way or another. If you were getting a sudden message right now, Leo, it would not be what you were thinking. It would not be, maybe you were hoping for some sort of message to come your way, and it's not going to be that one. And so if you've been hoping for something pretty favorable coming your way right now, you're going to get a regretful surprise. And the reason why is that Mercury, which is trining your sun, is so beleaguered, not just because it's being opposed by one malefic planet, Uranus, but it's being squared by another one, Saturn in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces, which is the ruler. And that simply means that as information comes out from behind the scenes, it might be bad news, not good news. And that news planet, Mercury, is trining your sun. And that's why I think that you may be getting news, or maybe you've just had it, that was not what you were expecting. And so that could be something that would lead to a conflict or frustration. And that would be a very good reason for you to think about moving on to the next chapter in your life, Leo, which I urge you to do, because Mars and the Sun, which is your own ruler, are in Scorpio squaring your sun today, and the moon, the other light, is conjuncting Pluto in Aquarius, and they are opposing your sun sign. This could be a time, Leo, that you could get the sort of feeling that everything's working against you. Well, it isn't quite that bad, but there are things that are not going to turn out the way you thought they would, and you will just simply have to live with it. And that can be a very good reason, if you're real uncomfortable with that and you don't like what you're hearing in one way or another, that could be a very good reason for you to move on to the next chapter in your life. You may even want to make a move, and sort of far away from whatever's been bothering you. That would be fine. You could do that. You'll have to do something, Leo, because we can't live in the past. And if you're getting bad news about something, I wouldn't stick around. I'd sort of try to turn over a new leaf and start somewhere else. And you could do it. You just will not be getting quite the news that you were expecting. It could come out a little different way than you were thinking. And that could be a very good reason for you to start a new chapter in your life, and possibly in a new location. So I wish you the best of luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, there aren't any planets in the earth signs. There weren't any last week either. Oh, darn it. It would have given you a little bit of time. It would have given you a little breathing space, though, Virgo. It would have allowed you to slow down, because there weren't any planets trining your sun anyway, or in your sun sign. And it's the same way this week. And so maybe you are able to sort of settle down a little bit and sort of take a pause or a break and just look around at your life and see how things are going. And maybe you have some things you need to catch up on. And also maybe there is something that is not satisfying you or not pleasing you, or if you've been waiting for a dream to come true for a long time and it hasn't done it, you're probably out of patience right now. There could be an ending to that. And that is because Saturn is in Pisces, closely conjuncting the ruler of the sign, Neptune, at 29 degrees, and they are both opposing your sun, Virgo, and your ruler, Mercury, is in Sagittarius, squaring your sun. So at the very least, you can be enduring some misunderstandings right now. Well, those misunderstandings are not going to change. You're either going to have to accept them or walk on by and go in a new direction, or decide to start a new chapter in your life. I would strongly advise you to do that, Virgo. If you're a little bit unhappy, particularly if there's been some information that's coming out from behind the scenes that you don't like, or that you're a little fed up with, or even if that news has occurred before, maybe you could just be real tired of hearing it again, and you may decide that's it, that's enough. Well, you're right on time, Virgo, and the reason why is because the grand trine in the water signs is so strong because there's a ruler or an exalted planet in every single water sign, and they're all trining each other tightly. Very closely, exactly. And the one that's the big winner is Jupiter, which is exalted in Cancer, and Cancer rules the last half of life and endings. It rules endings. And these could be endings that are for the best. Jupiter's a good planet. So if you've been if you're just headed up to here, Virgo, with waiting for something to be resolved the way you think it should be resolved, I strongly urge you to give up and just let it go. And the reason why is because you're either going to be mired in the muck of a problem that you cannot solve. It's not going to get solved. It's been around a long time, and it couldn't perhaps not even be your problem, but you're related to it in some way. You need to cut ties. You need to turn the page. That's a chapter from your past. Let it stay there, Virgo, and move forward right now, if you can. And if you are a little bit tired of everything and you're even depressed about something right now, try to cheer yourself up if you can. Try to relax. Virgo rules the central nervous system. They worry about everything. You need to go to a different location, get your mind off your troubles, and just rest a little bit right now. And why not? Because we're all on to a new chapter. The next chapter of your life is right ahead of you, Virgo. And particularly if you walk away from things that you're not going to win anyway, and that you're tired of waiting for the happy ending, which it doesn't look like it's coming. And just let it go. You're worth happiness, Virgo. So don't hang around people or situations or locations that are depressing you. or making you worry. That isn't the way you're supposed to live. You know, move forward. Turn the page. And start a new chapter, Virgo. You can do it, and good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, you know, Venus is still in your sign at 19 degrees. It's in a grand trine, too, because Uranus in Gemini is trining your sun. And so are the moon today, which is tightly conjuncting Pluto in Aquarius. Okay, so that's good, Libra. Your sign has a lot of support. You could particularly be enjoying some support from a woman who is maybe head of her own company, or she's in upper management in a large corporation, government agency, or institution, and she would tend to like you. You know, the moon and the moon rules women, and the moon and Pluto are trining your sun. Well, Uranus in Gemini is also trining your sun. It's under severe duress at the moment, but it's still in a trine to your sun. And that means that sort of in the blink of an eye, your fortunes could turn around, Libra. And that is because you may be looking in a new direction. You may be deciding that, yes, this is the time when I want to start something new. Well, you could do that. And if you're looking for a new partner, you're well aspected to find them, Libra. And so you need to get out in the public eye. You do not need to sit home. No one's going to find you at home, Libra. You need to be out where other people are. You need to meet new people. You need to socialize. You need to do what you like to do. If it's a sport, then go out and play. Or go to something, if it's music, or it's art, or it's decorating, whatever relaxes you and you enjoy, you should do more of it right now, Libra. And you should try to look your best the whole time, because Venus is in your sign. So you could attract wonderful people to you, but they can't find you at home, so you're going to have to get out and mix and mingle a little bit more, and that would be a real good idea. There are no planets in Aries opposing your sun sign anymore. You know, Neptune and Saturn had been in Aries, and they're not there anymore, so they're not opposing your sun sign. You could start something new right now, Libra, and it could be with a new partner. Either you may want to hook up with somebody else and suggest, oh, okay, let's get together. Or maybe someone is going to contact you for one reason or another, and you should respond as quickly as you can and sort of see what they want, and, you know, be open to change. A Gemini rules change. And Uranus is under duress, but it's actually trining your sun. And so you could take on something else that is temporary or part-time. Or you could decide at least one day a week just to do something new. And eventually that could lead to a new chapter in your life. And it's all quite possible, Libra. And you do not have to sit back and wait for the world to come to you. This is a time when you need to get out and mix and mingle and be among them. You know, a lot of people are worried. They have money problems right now, Libra. You might too. But a lot of people are worried about things. The one thing that they're not worried about, and that you may not be worried about either, is that we're all very sure of our feelings. The grand trine in the water signs is extremely strong. We know how we feel. And if all you did, Libra, was follow your feelings, you'd probably be on the right path, exactly the right path. So you don't have to wonder if you should try something or do something. Just ask yourself if you feel like doing it. And if the answer is yes, go do it. You're bound to be successful, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time, Scorpio, when you may be certainly on the next chapter or a new chapter in your life. I'm pretty positive you are, Scorpio. And that's because, for one reason, you have the energy for that, because the sun is now in your sign. It's at 6 degrees today, and Mars is also in your sign at 26 degrees, but it is exactly trining important planets in the other water signs, so you're getting a lot of benefit and help from the planets in the other water signs that are trining your own sun, and that is really going to help you, Scorpio. You could overcome any problem right now, but because you can do that, and because you may have gone through one or possibly two endings, one of them that was a long dragged out ending, but is really finished, because Jupiter rules endings, and it's in Cancer trining your sun, and it's been trining your sun since last summer, and it's going to stay trining your sun until next summer. Lucky you. And so you can finish things up. You can end things. Other people may want to end things. Well, wave goodbye to them, Ms. Cancer. That would be all right with you. Because Scorpio, you're really going to sort of be on a roll right now. And that is because Mars is so exactly being trined and supported by other planets. And Mars is a planet of energy. And so you could be real serious about what you want to do, and you could certainly be sure of your feelings right now, and you could have the energy and the impetus to go forward and certainly start a new chapter in your life. I'd be surprised if you didn't do it. This is exactly the right time. And the reason why is that we're very sure of our feelings, and because there have been endings that have freed us up to make a new start. And, to turn a page. And we all grow and change at different times in our lives. And so this is just a perfect time, Scorpio, for you to go ahead and start a new chapter in your life. Oddly enough, it might be based on an old dream that you've had for a long time. And that is because Mars in your sign, and remember the sun is there too, and Mars is at 26 degrees in your sign, and it is exactly trining the planet of time, Saturn, which is retrograde at 26 degrees of Pisces, and it is conjuncting the ruler of the sign, Neptune, at the 29th degree of Fate, and it's also retrograde in Pisces. So these two planets are in almost perfect alignment within the sign of Pisces, and one of them is the ruler, and they're both trining Mars in the sun in your sign. But Saturn is exactly at 26 degrees, and so is Mars. And these are two malefic planets. They're not going to get you in trouble, Scorpio. They're going to get you out of trouble. And because they're working so well together, exactly at the same degrees. 26 is a number that reduces to 8. We reduce numbers by adding digits. 2 plus 6 equals 8. 8 is the number of Scorpio. And so something that had been going on for a long time that might have been either behind the scenes because it was a secret in your heart that you weren't telling anybody about, or it could involve an activity that you had been involved with behind the scenes, that's going to come out. And that means that if you've had a secret dream, that's coming out. And that might involve a new chapter in your life because the trines are so exact. And the thing that is sort of the cherry on the top for you, Scorpio, is that Jupiter is also exact. It's at 25 degrees of Cancer today. So tomorrow will be at 26 degrees, same degree as Mars, same degree as Saturn, very closely trining Neptune at 29 degrees of Fate. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better time, Scorpio, to start a new chapter in your life. It just depends on how sure you are of your own feelings. That's all you need to be sure of. And if you're thinking that you wouldn't have the money for it, you will have the money for it. Yours is a money sign. Yes, Pluto and the Moon are squaring Mars and the Sun in your sign today, leading to indecision or confusion. Well, either the money has already dropped in your lap, or if it hasn't dropped in your lap, it's on its way. And so I think you're gonna have the money to make a secret dream come true. And this will be based on your deepest feelings. And we are all very sure of our feelings because the grand trine in the water is so exact, and the water signs rule our feelings. But Scorpio, your sign rules justice and survival. And that's your survival, Scorpio, that you should be thinking of. How do you want to live for the next 10, 20, 30, whatever years? It's up to you. It's your choice. Nobody else's. And if you've been through a few endings because they weren't right for you, and you knew you didn't feel that strongly about whoever else was involved in that, and you did have a secret dream, if you were ever going to make it come true, Scorpio, it is today. It is right now. While you have so much support and help. But I think that the endings would have to have begun for all of us. We would have had to endure endings already in order to be starting a new chapter now. And that's where we are now, particularly you. So good luck to you. And a dream isn't real until you make it come true. So give it a go, Scorpio. Good luck. All right, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, Mercury is in your sign. It's only at 0 degrees, and it's being opposed exactly by a malefic planet, Uranus, which is at 0 degrees of Gemini. Well, there aren't any other planets in the fire signs. That Mercury is really on its own right now, Sagittarius, and it has no support because there's nothing in Aries or Leo, and it's facing a very strong opposition from a malefic planet. And the story gets a little worse right now, Sagittarius, because Saturn at 26 degrees of Pisces and is conjuncting Neptune, the ruler of the sign, at the 29th degree of Fate in Pisces, and they're both retrograde, and they are squaring your sun as well, and that Mercury. And so, Sagittarius, if you had been concealing anything from behind the scenes, it's going to come out now, and you'll have to deal with that. And that could generate some sort of an ending, but remember, as one door closes, another one is certainly bound to open, and that would be the next chapter in your life. So that eventually would turn out for the best. On the other hand, if something is revealed behind the scenes and it doesn't concern what you did, but it concerns somebody else that had been doing something behind the scenes, and their actions were affecting you, then you're going to have to decide if you want to put up with something that comes out that could be somewhat embarrassing for you. You need to decide if you want to endure that or if you want to end it. And so you're going to have to really get in touch with your feelings a lot more, Sagittarius. And just, you wouldn't have to go any further than to ask yourself, how do you really feel about this? And most people, when they're deciding how they feel about something, it depends on what their limits are. And so if your limits are here and the problem is up here, then I don't think you're going to want to go beyond your limits and deal with the problem. You may want to end that problem, and that will allow you, within your own limits and your own feelings, to go ahead and make a new chapter in your life. Perhaps with or without people from behind the scenes that had been adversely affecting you, perhaps taking advantage of you in ways that, people can take advantage of other people by saying, oh, hey, you're smart, so do you have the answer to this? Okay, so they're sort of using you for that, Sagittarius. And Sagittarians are very well-informed people, and they are interested in international law, which is what your sign rules, and higher education as well. And so you could have been more than willing to help other people with their problems. But there's a difference between, having a reciprocal good partnership or being the patsy and just getting used all the time. And sometimes for nefarious reasons that you don't even know about. And so this is a time when you have to decide, okay, how do I feel about something? And do I want to let that continue, or do I not? Or my limits are here and I just want to stay within my limits. We all have the ability, because of the strong grand trine in the water signs, to know exactly how we feel now. So you don't have to go any further. You don't have to ask anybody for their opinions on anything. You just need to decide what you can live with and what you can't live with right now, Sagittarius. And it depends on your values and how you live your own life. And if there are people around that who do not respect your values, or they don't live the kind of life you live, why are you wasting your time on them? They're not your type, Sagittarius, so they won't make you happy. And just realize that you need to be around people that will make you happy, and you don't have to go any further than to ask yourself how you feel to get the right answer right now. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time, Capricorn, with no planets again in the earth signs, when it's a little bit hard for people to keep their feet on the ground and be practical all the time. And earth signs like to do that, but there isn't much support for that right now because there's nothing in your sign, Taurus or Virgo. And so I think that this is a time, Capricorn, when you should just quietly think about what kind of things make you happy, or what activities make you happy, or what kind of ideal partner you're looking for. Maybe you're already in a good partnership, but if you're looking for a good partner, why don't you refine your search to something that you know would really make you happy, or to someone that would really make you happy? And probably, Capricorn, they would have to share the same values that you have. So as long as you are real honest about how you feel and what your basic values are that you live by, you're going to be pretty happy with anybody else that agrees with that. And you're not going to be too happy with anybody that doesn't live like that or agree with that. So that's sort of a cut and dried way of saying that not everybody is going to be a great partner for you, Capricorn, and that's because Venus is in the sign of partnership, Libra, which is a cardinal sign, squaring your sign, which doesn't have anything in it and is also a cardinal sign. And that's a very good planet, but it's in harsh aspect to your sun sign, meaning that not every partner is the right one for you, Capricorn. No matter what advantage you think there is to somebody, really, if they're not living the way you live, or they have different values, you'll never be happy with them, because you won't both be sharing the same values. And so don't waste your time on somebody like that, is what I'm saying, Capricorn. But if you do meet somebody who does share your values, and you know what your values are, then you're going to be happy. Why not? But on the other hand, Jupiter is in Cancer. It is exalted. It's in a close, exact grand trine to other planets that are rulers in the other water signs, and it is opposing your sun sign. There's something good that you would really like, Capricorn, and it is beyond your reach. Okay? It's not coming your way. And you can either sit there and keep wishing on a star to think, oh, well, you know, that'll happen someday. Or you may realize that it is because other people have a right to make their own choices too. They have as much right as you do. And so not everybody is making the same choices that you make or want to make, Capricorn. And that's one of the realistic truths in life. And your sign is a very realistic planet sign, but it's a little hard to really live with the truth sometimes, particularly if you've been wishing on a star. And this could be a time for you to take stock of where you are right now, Capricorn. And I know it's hard to be realistic when there aren't any planets in Earth signs. There's no support for them whatsoever right now, and there weren't last week either. But something is truly ending or over for you. And it may be, Capricorn, for the very best, because Capricorns are going to live a very long time, because your sign is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is sextiling your sun now. You can be looking forward down the road at the rest of your life right now, Capricorn, and you need to ask yourself, what do I want to be doing for the rest of my life, and who do I want to be doing it with? And I don't think you're going to have to look too far. You do not have to wish on a star, Capricorn. It's got to be somebody that shares the same values that you have, or there's going to be no happiness. Then you don't have to look too far. You can ask yourself who you like and who you don't like. And that's it. If somebody does not share your values, they are never going to make it as long as you are. So don't waste your time on them. And we all really understand how we feel, and so do you, Capricorn. And so you have to stick by your own values. And if you're looking for a good partner, they better share your values, or they're out of luck. And so are you. But it's better to go on and find somebody that you're comfortable with, and not somebody that you always have to be putting up some sort of facade or working with or making allowances or excuses for. Those are not the people that are going to make you happy, Capricorn. Capricorns have simple values, but they're deep ones, very deep values. And it doesn't do any good to be around people that don't share your values, Capricorn. They're never going to make you happy. So don't waste your time. And good luck on finding the right one. It'll happen. Just, your ruler is sextiling your sun right now. It's the planet of time. It's your own ruler. So, you know, you don't have to wish on a star. Take a real good look at the people that you really like that are around you, and be happy about that. Because they like you for the same reason that you like them. That's nice. So good luck. All right, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time, Aquarius, that you're sort of lucky because the light is really on you right now, and that's because the moon is in your sign. It's at 4 degrees today, and it is closely conjuncting Pluto in your sign, and both of them are being trined by Venus, which is at home in Libra. There could be a new partner coming your way, Aquarius. That would be nice, or some very favorable legal news, or good advice from somebody that you consult about a legal matter. You could benefit from that. But on the other hand, Uranus in Gemini is also trining your sun sign, and it's at 0 degrees in Gemini, and it's trining Pluto in your sign at 1 degree, and the moon at 4 degrees. The trine from Uranus to the 2 planets in your sign is exact. It's very, very tight. And Uranus rules your sign. It's your own ruler that's trining your sign, Aquarius. This hasn't happened to you in years, but it is now. However, it's going to go back in Taurus. And I think it's about April 26th, it's sometime in April of 2026, when it comes into your sign and trines your sun for the whole next 7 years. And those are going to be the happiest years of your life, Aquarius. And, you know, no matter where you are in your life today, Aquarius, you do benefit from the grand trine of the planets in the air signs, particularly Venus in Libra, because it's at home in the sign it rules. So you can either be looking for a great partner, and they could be looking for you, Aquarius. That could really work out well. Or you could get good legal advice, or else you could just form some sort of good partnership right now. It might be a temporary or part-time one. It could be some project that you're working on with somebody else, and that could be extremely amicable. It would be very nice. It would be successful. I mean, go for it, Aquarius. You may as well do it while Venus in Libra is trining your sun, and Uranus, your own ruler, is trining your sun, because Uranus has been trining your sun for months now, but it's going to go back into Taurus and begin to square your sun. And that'll be a little different story that's coming up for the rest of the year and for the spring until April. And so you need to be a little bit careful about your choices. If I were you and you were starting a new chapter in your life, which everybody can do right now, Aquarius, I would do it. I would not wait. Even if you're only starting it with baby steps, you should be starting a new chapter in your life today and get going and do it with a partner. First of all, 2 heads are better than 1, and it shares the workload. That's nice too. And enjoy yourself. So try to really get something, a new chapter off the ground right now, Aquarius. You'll be glad you did, particularly by next summer. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time, Pisces, when you can be very, very sure of your feelings. And your sign rules the 12th house of limitations. And it rules things that people can be doubtful of and afraid of. And it rules all areas of confinement, such as prisons and jails and even hospitals or sanitariums, things like that. And you know, Pisces, I think you're beyond being afraid of anything right now. I think that you're coming home to the way that you really feel about something in your life, or about this time of your life, whatever age you are. You're probably reconciling the events or the things that you care about and the people that you care about in your life. You're probably reconciling that to whatever age you are right now, or whatever experience level you are, or whatever your career is like right now, or even if you're in retirement. You could be thinking of things in the past, or troubles that you've surmounted in the past, or even sad things that have happened to you in the past. But you mustn't dwell on those, Pisces, for one reason. They're in the past, okay? And time moves forward, not backward. So you're going forward in your life. This is a wonderful time for you to start a new chapter in your life. You really couldn't ask for a better time, Pisces. And the reason why is that Saturn is the planet of time. It's at 26 degrees in your sign today, and it's retrograde. It is tightly conjuncting, which means it's in almost perfect alignment with Neptune, your own ruler, at the 29th degree of fate in your sign. They're both retrograde. But Saturn, the planet of time and of the past, Saturn also rules our 10th house of career and our lifetime achievements. And just remember, you've got that going for you, Pisces. You know, you got a lot of experience under your belt. Even if you're a young Pisces, you have experience under your belt, and you can start a new chapter anytime you want. But now is a really good time because you would have already gone through an ending, possibly two of them, because yours is a double-bodied sign. And maybe the truth is coming out from behind the scenes because you're admitting it. And you know, whatever you've held in your secret heart, maybe you're admitting that a little bit more, possibly because of your age, or because of where your career is, or because of where you live, or because endings in your relationships have already occurred, and they would have been beneficial for you. Even a sad one, you wouldn't think that a sad, you know, the loss of a loved one or something, you wouldn't think that that was beneficial for you. But it teaches us how important it is to go forward. If someone you care about is not with you anymore, that is because you are meant to go forward, and you are meant to open new doors in your life, and this is the right time to do it, because the Sun and Mars in Scorpio, and Mars is at 26 degrees, Saturn is at 26 degrees in your sign. They're in perfect trine to each other, and they're malefic planets. But for you, Pisces, they represent tremendous determination and energy. Mars is energy, and Saturn is determination. And you've got that right now. And on top of that, the cherry on the top is that Jupiter is exalted at 25 degrees. I mean, these things are all so exact now. In Cancer, which rules endings, it rules the fourth house of home, last half of life, and endings, and it's trining everything, and it's the strongest planet in the heavens. So it's trining the planets in your sign and the planets in Scorpio. There should be some more money coming your way, or you could do something to bring more money in, Pisces. It might require harder work, but you could do it, because Mars is trining your Sun. An ending, that's what Jupiter in Cancer represents, because Cancer represents endings, would have been beneficial, even if it had some element of sadness to it, because it's brought you to where you are today and to who you are today. And what it means is that even if we have sadness in our past, we are supposed to go forward and seek the light of a new day. And that's what a new chapter, which is beginning for all of us now because we're so sure of our feelings, that's what that represents, the light of a new day. And that is particularly shining on you right now, Pisces. You're looking at the light of a new day for yourself. A new chapter in your life. It may be somebody new coming into your life. It may be somebody that you've wanted to have come in your life for a long time, but you haven't said anything about it. Well, get your courage up and do it, Pisces. Go forward. You probably will never have as much support behind you as you do now. Support that reinforces the way you really feel. Because the water signs not only rule our feelings, particularly Cancer, but it rules healing. All the water signs rule healing. So a new chapter in your life, which you are due to start right now, Pisces, is going to heal you. There's nothing for you to have doubt about. There's nothing for you to be afraid of. You know, you're sitting in the driver's seat, Pisces. You don't need to take a back seat to anybody anymore. It's your life. You're in control of it. So go forward to a new chapter. This is the right time. Good luck. Okay. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you like the show, the STARBORN show, I want to thank you for the new subscribers, and I hope you tell other people about the show. And until then, I'll see you right here next week. Thanks a lot. Bye.